Welcome, my friends, to Twisted TV. You've made sure your doors are locked, right? Good, let's dive straight into our first unnerving tale. Our story begins in the heart of suburbia, where a seemingly ordinary family found themselves plagued by the extraordinary. The day-to-day tranquility of their lives began to ripple with the subtlest of disturbances. Items would be out of place, as if they'd been nudged from their usual spots. A favorite mug misplaced, a book not on its shelf. These small anomalies were easy to dismiss, attributed to forgetfulness or the chaos of family life. But then, food started disappearing. At first, it was just a missing apple from the fruit bowl, a slice of bread gone from the loaf. Then entire meals from the fridge began to vanish, leaving the family puzzled and slightly unnerved. They considered the possibility of a prankster among them, but the mystery remained unsolved. Their unease grew as strange noises echoed through the house during the night. A soft thud from above, a faint sound of movement. It was as if the house itself was alive, breathing and shifting in the dark. They dismissed it as the house settling or the wind playing tricks. But deep down, a sense of dread began to take root. The unsettling truth came to light when they discovered an attic they never knew existed. Hidden behind an unassuming wall panel, it was a cramped, dust-filled space. And there, amidst the cobwebs and old insulation, they found signs of a makeshift living area. It was clear, a stranger had been dwelling in their home, moving in and out of their lives like a phantom. This unwanted visitor had been living right above their heads, an invisible presence lurking in their safe haven. He slipped in and out when they were away, leaving behind only the faintest traces of his existence. Just imagine a stranger living right above your head, moving around your house when you're not there. Truly a chilling thought. Are you ready for our next spine-chilling tale? This one's called The Shadowy Stalker. Imagine living alone, in a quaint house nestled in an otherwise quiet neighborhood. Picture a woman named Jane, who begins to notice an unsettling presence. Late at night, while she's winding down from the day, she glimpses a figure lurking in the shadows of her backyard. The figure is barely discernible, like an ethereal ghost, but it's there, a silhouette against the darkness. At first, Jane dismisses it as her imagination playing tricks on her. After all, the human mind has a knack for conjuring up terrors in the night. But then, the figure returns, night after night, always in the same spot, always watching. The consistent presence of this shadowy stalker turns Jane's dismissal into a creeping dread. Frustration and fear prompt her to call the police. They arrive, scanning the area with their flashlights, but find nothing. No trace of the elusive figure. Their reassurances do little to dissipate Jane's growing unease. Yet they promise to keep an eye on the area, and she's left with the chilling solitude of her home once again. Then, one night, the police patrol spots him, a man crouched in the shadows of Jane's backyard. They apprehend him, and it's revealed that he had been stalking her for weeks, lurking in the darkness, watching her every move. The man is a stranger to Jane, a faceless menace who had inserted himself into her life, uninvited and unwelcome. This story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes our fears are not just figments of our imagination. Sometimes they're as real as the person hiding in the shadows. Remember, if you ever feel like you're being watched, trust your instincts. You might not be wrong. Our next story is The Unseen Tenant, and it's sure to make your skin crawl. So imagine this. You're a college student, renting a house with a bunch of your friends. It's your first taste of independence, a little slice of freedom away from the watchful eyes of your parents. You're excited, living in the moment, enjoying the camaraderie, the late-night study sessions, the parties. But then, things start to get a little odd. You start noticing small things at first. Your belongings are not where you left them. The coffee cup you distinctly remember leaving on the kitchen counter is now on the dining table. Your room door, which you always keep closed, is mysteriously ajar. Then come the sounds. Doors opening and closing on their own, soft footsteps in the dead of night, the faint sound of someone rummaging in the kitchen while everyone else is asleep. You chalk it up to the old house, the wind, maybe even a pesky rodent. But then you start finding things in places they absolutely should not be. Your class notes in the basement, the TV remote in the bathroom, your roommate's jacket in the attic. It's clear now. You're not just misplacing things. Something or someone is moving them. One day, curiosity outweighs fear. You and your roommates decide to investigate that creepy basement you've always avoided. And there, hidden behind a stack of old boxes, you find a makeshift bed, a few personal belongings, and a homeless man who had been living with you unnoticed all this time. This man had been your unseen tenant, sharing your space, your life, your home, without you ever knowing. He had been there listening to your laughter, your secrets, your fears, moving silently through your house while you slept, oblivious to his presence. Next time you hear a strange noise in your house, it might not be just the wind. Ready for more? Our fourth story is The Silent Observer. Picture this, a quiet suburban neighborhood. A string of burglaries shakes the community to its core. One man, let's call him John, decides to take matters into his own hands. He wires up an impressive security system, cameras covering every inch of his property. He's determined to catch the burglar if they dare to step foot on his property. But what he discovers chills him to the bone. It's not the blatant burglary he expected. Instead, he finds a stranger, lurking in the shadows of the woods that line his property. The figure is there every night watching, not breaking in, not stealing, just watching. A silent observer, hidden in the cloak of darkness. John is puzzled, frightened, and intrigued. He wonders, who is this person? Why are they watching my house? What do they want? These questions swirl around in his mind, haunting his every waking hour. He decides to confront the stranger, but every time he approaches, they melt into the woods, disappearing as if they were never there. John is left standing alone in the darkness, the eerie silence amplifying his fear. This cat-and-mouse game continues for weeks, with the stranger always staying one step ahead. John contacts the police, providing them with the chilling footage. They promise to patrol the area, but the stranger is elusive, always slipping away into the night before they arrive. The presence of this silent observer begins to eat away at John's sense of security, turning his safe haven into a place of fear and uncertainty. This tale is a stark reminder that sometimes the things we fear most don't come in the form we expect. Sometimes they're not out to steal our possessions, but our peace of mind. And sometimes the most terrifying thing isn't the break-in, but the silent observer watching from the shadows. It's a shocking reminder that sometimes a watchful eye is more than just a figure of speech. Our final tale for today is The Forgotten Roommate. Brace yourself. This story revolves around a man, let's call him John, who decided to rent out a room in his quaint suburban house to help cover his mortgage. A seemingly innocuous decision that would soon prove to be more than he bargained for. After a few months, John began to notice odd occurrences. His groceries, particularly his favorite brand of cereal, started disappearing at an alarming rate. The eerie creak of floorboards and soft whispers seemed to echo through his house at the dead of night. Naturally, he confronted his tenant, a quiet man named Peter, about these strange happenings. To his astonishment, Peter looked at him with a puzzled expression. He had moved out weeks ago, he explained, and had left a note to that effect. John, who had been busy with work, had failed to notice Peter's absence, let alone his note. This revelation sent a shiver down John's spine. If Peter had vacated the premises, who then was living in his house? With a heavy heart and a heavier dread, John explored the rented room only to discover signs of fresh habitation. The bed was unmade, with a worn-out backpack on the floor. The room reeked of stale food and sweat. It was clear. A stranger had moved in unnoticed, eating his food, walking his halls, and living under his roof. John immediately contacted the authorities. The intruder was caught a few days later, a drifter who had seen an opportunity and taken it. He had been the forgotten roommate, living a shadow life right under John's nose. This tale serves as a chilling reminder to always keep track of who's living under your roof. Or you might find yourself with an unexpected roommate. Always be vigilant, my friends, because sometimes the things that go bump in the night are not just in your imagination.